Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing the Mercedes Maybach S680, aka the 12-cylinder S Class. Before we get into this video though, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Mercedes-Benz of Salt Lake City, Utah for giving me some time with this car. This particular one is still available for sale for the time being, and they also happen to have an S580 version as well if you're interested. So regardless, I'll include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out this car and the other cars that they have as well. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Yo-Yo. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money, the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering this is a twin-turbo 6-liter V12 that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 12 around town and then 20 on the highway, with power outputs being a whopping 621 horsepower and then 664 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, it's normal S-Class until you go to the Mercedes logo, and then you guys can see you've got the chrome strip behind it. It gives this car a very unique look. Now taking a look at the headlights, I absolutely love the design. And by the way, they don't flicker in real life. That's just because of the frame rate of the camera, and you got your little digital light logo there inside the lights. Anyways, we have our Maybach grille here in the center, vertical with the slats. It looks very fancy. And then look at all of the chrome trim here at the bottom. You got parking sensors here at the bottom as well. And the second that you see this car, when you put it all together, you can just tell that this is all about luxury. Now, popping around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 255/40/20 in the front, and then 285/35/20 in the rear. And of course, we have the Maybach wheels here, which they just look absolutely crazy. There's just nothing else out there in the car that looks quite like these wheels. Of course, we got our V12 badge. You can flex that you got the 12-cylinder engine. And then I love how the mirror caps are body painted. Then you've got more chrome trim around the windows, even in the center portion, and then also on top of the door handles. And then here is the full side profile. You guys can see the other Maybach badge there on the back. And I mean, this thing is so long. So here's our key fob. It says Maybach there with the lock function. You got your unlock function, and then the opening for the trunk. Now, popping into the trunk, first off, you actually have the carpeted floor mats that come with this, and I can tell you, while feeling them through the plastic, extremely thick. This is the type of carpeting you have in a house, not in a car. That's pretty crazy. And I'm not exactly sure what this box is. I think this is the refrigerator for the rear, because there's the little pass-through. It looks like that it goes into. I think this just hasn't been put in. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm just filming this review on the fly because this happened to be here today. But anyways, there's the trunk. And then when you're all done, just press this button right here and it'll lower the trunk right back down. Really cool taillight design here in the back. You got your S680 badge, you got the Mercedes logo, and then you have your Maybach badge there as well. And then parking sensors all along the bottom. And putting it all together, some of the changes are subtle, especially for the average pedestrian that's going to see this car, but if you know what it is, you know what it is. So starting with the door panel here in the rear, it looks like we've got an automated sunshade here in the back, and I like how the coloration on the top of the sunshade matches the leather trim down below so that it all kind of ties in together. And then yeah, just look at the rest of the trim here in the door panel. Absolutely gorgeous. And even here at the bottom, it's actually soft touch. A lot of automakers will basically make it so it looks like there's leather trim at the bottom, whereas this actually has leather trim at the bottom. And then you can see a bunch of speakers for the Burmester sound system here. Look at how beautiful those are. And then we've got our window controls and then the sunshade control action as well. We've got our seat adjustments here for the rear, heated and ventilated seats, memory seats as well. So there's lots of features here on the door. And then taking a look at the seats themselves, you guys can see we've got the Maybach pillows, and then look at all the leather trim that goes down the center portion. You got the piping and everything as well. And I mean, we'll talk about legroom once I sit back here, but I mean, you can already tell it's massive. Yeah, so just like I guessed, the legroom back here is absolutely fantastic. And you actually have this that you can pull up. It's like a little I guess calf rest, thigh rest, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, literally, you can just be so comfortable here in the rear. And then we do have screens here in the rear on either side. I just quickly turn this one on. So you guys can see it's kind of like a secondary infotainment screen here for the rear passengers, so you can control stuff like the music and everything. So it's pretty cool that you actually have these little, again, kind of like secondary infotainment screens. And then, of course, we got more Maybach logos here on the back as well. And then look at the wood trim here at the bottom. I think that just looks so high quality. Now I noticed this trim piece right here and it's split up, and that's because it actually opens, which is really cool. You guys can see we've got our own climate zone here in the rear. We've got some cup holder action, and they are heated and cooled. I like how it actually illuminates. It's like when you do the cooled function, it's blue, heated, red. And then it looks like those are for champagne flukes, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you can have a party back here, and then you just press that button and it'll close that all up. Well, we are not even close to being done here. So it looks like we've got this for the little tablet that comes with the car. Again, some of the stuff has not been installed yet, but opening this up, we've got a little kind of like charging area inside, and then we do have the little tables that we can pull out. So this is so crazy to me. Like, again, literally you feel like you're in first class with this stuff. And then it looks like I was correct, so you guys can see, again, another logo here with the wood trim. But yeah, that looks like that's a refrigerator for the rear. Again, just hasn't been fully connected yet. But yeah, that's what this little pass-through is for. So I guess you keep your champagne in there, and then you put your little glasses up front. And then up top, we've got leather even on the grab handle here. The lights there kind of like underneath the grab handle, kind of funny enough. And then yes, the entire headliner is also leather. And guess what this button does? It closes the door. And if I push it the other way, it opens it. Like, that is the true definition of luxury. And we also happen to have a sunroof here in the rear. And then, yeah, I'll listen to the sound system. Obviously, can't do that for YouTube copyright infringement, but I'll let you guys know how crazy the sound system is. But I mean, looking at all the speakers around here and everything, it's probably going to be the best I've ever heard. Now taking a look at the front door panel, it's just as nice as the rear with all of the trim throughout with all the leather, and even goes down to the bottom just like the rear. And I mean, you can even see it here on the side as well. Really high quality again. More speakers here for the Burmester sound system. We've got all of our window controls right here, and then our mirror adjustments. Light controls here, just in normal S-Class fashion, and then seat adjustments also on the door panel here. Heated and cooled seats up front, and then you guys can see we've got blind spot monitoring for the mirrors. Yeah, even the front passengers get pillows on the headrests. That's cool. And then look at the leather trim all down the center. Looks fantastic. And then this is one of my favorite parts. Look at the pedals. Just absolutely beautiful finish right there. And then even like the vents here, everything looks so high quality. Now here's a look at the steering wheel. Really nice leather trim all around. We've got paddle shifters here in the back for that 9-speed automatic transmission. You've got like your volume controls for the infotainment screen. This is for the center gauge cluster. Adaptive cruise control as well. And then yeah, literally everywhere with those logos. And then you guys can see little stalks in the back. They're very high quality looking, and then that's obviously for the column shifter. So we've got this full digital gauge cluster here in normal Mercedes-Benz fashion, and it actually kind of like doubles as a secondary infotainment system. Now you can change it to the other like standard views, but this has this special Maybach gauge that I think looks, again, it has this like fancy high quality appearance. Now we do have a 360 camera system here with this, and I will say, since this is such a large car, this is definitely a kind of like a must-have, and so it's nice that it has such a good camera system to help out with parking. Now as for the rest of the infotainment screen, this is basically the normal S-Class infotainment screen, but notice that you actually don't have like a regular S-Class. It actually shows a Maybach there for the little vehicle icon, which I think is pretty cool. And we've got the vehicle tab you can pull up. Let's see if there's any special drive modes. Oh, so you've got like a little diamond there. That's cool for the Maybach mode. And then you have Maybach, and then you've got comfort. Interesting. But you just have 4 drive modes. Yeah, so they kind of made things a little bit more simple. And then you still have like the volume slider and everything else that you get in normal S-Class. And then I love the engine stop-start button. I think it looks so cool. And then at the top of the dash, we've got the 4 vents here. And then look at all of the leather trim and the wood trim down below. This feels like a yacht almost. Like one of those high-quality yachts. I've never been on one, but I've seen them in the movies. And then you guys can see down here. And then, yeah, this is pretty normal with the S-Class. Wireless phone charging pad. So you got all like the practical stuff here, and then center console. Yeah, this also looks the same, man. Look at the leather trim here on the top. I think that all looks really high quality. I guess we'll see if the glove box is any different. Eh? Oh, it looks like it's got the perfume holder, so you can do the perfume air. And then yeah, leather trim on the outside of this as well. Well, we got our fancy looking mirror here, and then we've got the little slider here for the sunroof at the top. And then look at the leather trim here all over the headliner and everything. It's just, it's such a cool look. Well, let's go over the pricing on this. So you guys can see we got that 6-liter V12 in the standard equipment, and here's all the other standard equipment. So it actually comes with quite a bit as standard. Now here's our base MSRP before options, $229,000. And then this paint job actually is pretty affordable compared to what you normally see on cars like this. Usually they're like $10,000 for the paint job, so that's actually not too bad. But I guess the champagne flutes, $3,200 to add that in. That is crazy. But yeah, you can see all the other upgrades that this has. Total MSRP, $248,000 on the dot, right? They made things simple. They didn't have any like options that had any weird numbers. So yeah. Anyways, let's see how this thing drives. Well, before we set off, I do want to talk about visibility here. You guys can see visibility of the hood, and hopefully you can see the heads-up display. It's very large and clear. Both the mirrors do have blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear. And I do quickly want to touch on the sound system. So I tested it out a little bit, and yeah, it's probably one of the best, if not the best sound systems I have ever tested in a car. And I think part of it is there's so much sound deadening in this Maybach that it's like a perfect experience. Like I feel like I'm in a theater pretty much with the whole sound system experience. Now actually getting up and driving, this is the most insane luxury experience I've ever experienced. And I'm gonna pop it into the Maybach mode here. And by the way, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below. Maybach, my Bach, your Bach, his Bach. Everyone always says it different. It doesn't matter how I say it. Everyone always gets, not everyone, but like there's always a group of people that will get upset. You can literally steer with one finger. Like this car is so easy to drive. And so I got to adjust the GoPro a little bit. It's slipping off my head, sitting out in the sun for a while. It gets hot, but yeah, it's so comfortable. And something that I forgot to mention in the walk around, that's actually not gonna be in the vehicle tab, but the point I want to make, something I forgot to mention in the walk around is actually going to be some of the features. So this does come with like massaging seats like a regular S Class as well, but I've assumed you guys probably assumed that because like it's like the top of the line, right? This V12 is so smooth. Like everything's smooth with this car. I don't think that there's anything that's going to be able to one up this when it comes to luxury. Like it's so quiet. I mean, literally all I can hear is the air conditioning. That's it. Everything that's happening, the bustle of downtown and all that, it doesn't exist. Well, continuing to move along, it's just so smooth. And this makes me want to get a luxury car. Because it's just like, it's such a nice experience. It makes driving, I don't know, it just makes driving so much better. But I did pop into the sport mode. Actually handles really well. Well, this once the stoplight goes green, we've got acceleration up here, but yeah, it's got some power. But again, it's very, like with the 9-speed and with the V12, it's a very smooth experience. So we will be able to get an acceleration here. Oh man, yeah. Again, this is not about acceleration, it's about comfort. So wrapping things up, this is my second time reviewing a Maybach, and obviously I did the SUV first, and now we're doing the S Class, right? Or the sedan, I should say. And it's a very interesting experience. I reviewed quite a few luxury cars on the channel. The most expensive, right? I've reviewed some Bentleys. I've also reviewed a Rolls-Royce. And I think that Mercedes, honestly, like, I'm not saying this just because I'm a Mercedes dealer, but I think they're the pinnacle. And the reason that I come to that conclusion is I don't feel like you get any extra luxury from Bentley or Rolls-Royce. I feel like you get, you know, a status symbol, and you get a car that looks different, but like in terms of interior materials, fit and finish, ride quality, all the luxury stuff, it honestly doesn't get any better than this. Like, this is it, at least from what I've tested. So let me know what you guys think about this, but it's a pretty cool experience.